Hi, I'm Wilhelm. Today let's talk about the ego from the spiritual perspective. How did it come into an existence? How does it run our life? And what can we do to overcome it? The spiritual world gave us some amazing answers, and we'll begin with the birth of the ego.
As we have seen in many of my other videos, we all came from the seven-dimensional absolute reality, our true home. Like everything else in creation, this reality is energy, vibration, and frequency. It has many different names like consciousness, awareness, divine love, light ether, or simply God Spirit, as it consists of the seven basic powers of God, also called the seven laws of God. They are order, will, wisdom, earnestness, patience, which is kindness, love, and mercy, which is meekness. This is the realm of constant, harmonious, expanding creation as it morphs itself into infinite forms and phenomena like all the spiritual galaxies, the suns, planets, mineral, plant, animal, and nature spirit kingdoms, as well as the pure, radiant male and female spirit beings which you and I also were once. It is the infinite realm of all unity, all harmony, peace, and love. But in the early stages of creation, there were large numbers of pure spirit beings who rebelled and wanted to create their very own creation by undoing and destroying God's divine creation. They no longer wanted to be in the high vibration of unity, love, and harmony. Instead, they were only interested in themselves and who would be the most powerful. It was the beginning of the me, me, me law, also called the ego law or the personal law. How did they achieve it? They simply reversed the seven divine laws of God by switching their energetic polarities. Like order became disorder, divine will became self-will, divine wisdom became intellectual striving, earnestness became carelessness and indifference, and later on they turned patience into impatience, love into love of self, and mercy into mercilessness, which is ruthlessness. So the seven basic powers, the laws of God, were reversed to become the seven egoistic forces of creation that made up the human ego. That was the birth of our ego. And this had major consequences. By applying these corrupted laws, the former angels fell from the absolute reality further and further away into what we now call the temporary reality, right down to the lowest level, the material universe, which is transformed down light ether. The scriptures call this event the fall of the angels. Please watch my video on Lucifer's rebellion for a more detailed description. The splitting off from the absolute reality caused totally new phenomena like time and space, and the realm of contrasts or opposites like light and dark. And most importantly, with the birth of the ego law came another law, the law of sowing and reaping, also called the karmic or causal law. Such a law does not exist in the absolute reality, the realm of the eternal now. We can only find this law in the temporary reality. This means that every soul became 100% responsible for their sensations, feelings, thoughts, words, and actions, as everything that is against the law of love will come back to the sender. But this law did not stop them in their frenzy to destroy, exploit, and hurt or harm each other and other life forms, our environment, and most noticeably Mother Earth. I've explained that in detail in my video Who Rules This World. This is all part of the Luciferian master plan. Sadly, this is also our egoistical heritage to which we have all contributed over time with our individual inputs that make up our human character. Now, how does the ego operate? All these egoistic beliefs, programs, and behavior patterns make up the ego law, which radiates from our soul and through our body and marks our aura, the cocoon that surrounds us. This cocoon or plasma is also called our ego world, as we basically only see ourselves in the projected images that make up our aura, and we perceive the world around us as reflections through the veil of our egoistic aura. Christ tells us, the adversary leads soul and person into the world of the senses. He tempts them with the illusion of their neighbor. He shows them what others possess and have, they're mine and for me, and makes them greedy and envious. In this way, he leads them away from their innermost being, the fullness in God, and toward the external world, the illusion. All this is caused by the three prime beliefs of the ego: lack, attachment, and control. If I believe in lack, I want attachment. If I have attachment, I want control. Therefore, the law of the human ego is divide, bind, and rule, which causes division and bindings to people and possessions. Those who have most rule over those who have less. And the ego's eternal demand is more, which causes pride and envy of what others have or are. Being trapped in this false ego identity or ego world may give us a temporary rush when everything goes according to our ego, but ultimately it always causes deep unhappiness. And that is exactly what our egoic mind wants us to feel, so that we never give up looking for validation, approval, acceptance, and even love from the outside world. It leads to discord, discontent, selfishness, passion, hatred, envy, animosity, greed, and further separation and misery, which is the opposite to our original state of being, a being in the all-unity, peace, and harmony. The ego prevents us from seeing our spiritual identity by deceiving us into believing that we only exist materialistically. Therefore, this total identification with our physical body, and as Christ said, the world of our outer senses. Yes, it is our ego that is afraid of death, because it believes it would be its end. But unfortunately, our soul is taking all our unresolved ego programs and beliefs with us onto the spiritual journey. Now, some people believe in a healthy ego, but they confuse a healthy ego with genuine confidence, which comes from truly knowing who we are and why we are here. A mighty, powerful divine being on the path of perfection. Our true self is love, nothing less. With this understanding, we have the ability to be adaptive, flexible, and resilient in how we respond to challenge circumstances in our personal life and relationships. But for as long as we don't know who we are living by other people's values, beliefs, opinions, and standards, which is precisely what our ego wants us to do. So now we fully understand what the ego is and how and why it came into existence. And in this understanding lies the clue of how to overcome our ego. We do not try to destroy it, because that would make it just stronger and give it more power. Instead, we bring ourselves step by step back into harmony with the 7 divine laws. We start with the law of order, meaning bringing order into our thoughts, words, and actions. And then we surrender our self-will to the will of God. Intellectual striving becomes divine wisdom. Our carelessness turns into earnestness. Our impatience becomes patience. And our love of self becomes selfless love. And finally, we turn mercilessness back into mercy. The tools for this were given to us a long time ago. They are the 10 Commandments and the Sermon on the Mount, as well as the Golden Rule. It may look like a big task, but we all have the Christ energy, our Redeemer and Liberator, in us, who will help us step by step to become loving, peaceful, healthy, joyful, noble, and truly happy again, which is our true divine heritage. Let me close with some encouraging words by Eckhart Tolle. The moment you become aware of the ego in you, it is strictly no longer the ego, but just an old conditioned mind pattern. Ego implies unawareness. Awareness and ego cannot coexist.
So let's stay aware of who we truly are, which is not our ego. I have to admit, I still have my daily challenges with the ego. Therefore, I found this book very helpful, which explains the ego in greater detail and its manipulation. It's called Me, the Spider in the Web by Gabriele. And if you're interested, just click on the link below this video. Be well till we meet next time to share some more wisdom from the divine worlds.